Hey guys, it's Genoheat here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we are going to be tackling the question of can a boat survive re-entry from space in Microsoft Flight Simulator? So, as you might have seen in one of my previous videos, Flight Simulator recently got a new DLC item, which is a boat. And it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in Flight Simulator. And I just had to get it. Like I couldn't resist. It's just so bizarre, and it's brought me like so much like laughter from just like using it in this game. Like I don't know. It's just such an odd thing. But anyways, let's see what happens if we get the boat into space and if it can actually survive re-entry from space. So we're gonna start from none other than Philadelphia International Airport, and from here. You may be wondering, how do we get the boat into space? Well, luckily, Flight Simulator still has a very cool sort of cheat feature called Slew Mode, which is what we'll be using. Alright, so here we are, we're now in game, and our boat is on the runway, and we got two passengers with us, two fellow astronauts, that are going to come to space with us on our boat, on our little mini yacht. So, let's just activate Slew Mode and go right into space. So if you didn't know, Slew Mode is just a little feature that lets you basically just move your aircraft wherever you want it to be. Move forward, backwards, or change the altitude. In this case, I'm just focused on the altitude. We're going to get all the way into space, which is about 275,000 feet above ground, which according to NASA is outer space. So now that we're in space, let's end Slew Mode and just let the boat plummet back down to Earth. And right off the bat, in outer space, the boat is just freaking out. And in first person, it's just completely crazy. However, you could maybe see that the passengers were actually fine during that moment. In fact, the passengers seem to still be enjoying their time on the yacht while it's re-entering the atmosphere from outer space. But anyways, in third person, you can see that the yacht is just plummeting really fast, and the camera can barely keep up with the yacht anymore. But back in first person, you can see our passengers still having a great time of their lives while we're doing re-entry, and they don't seem to be bothered at all by the fact that the open yacht is in outer space, plummeting through the atmosphere at what's probably supersonic or even hypersonic speeds at this point. But enough of that. You know, don't want to ruin the party on this yacht while we're plummeting down. So let's we'll switch back to third person in a moment, but yeah, you can see the Earth. We are definitely getting a lot closer to the ground now. You can start to see a lot of features, and you can see here, like I was almost at 5,000 knots there, and I've seen this boat hit like almost 10,000 knots before during some previous experiments. Like, those are definitely like hypersonic, almost hypersonic speeds, like anywhere from like Mach 5 to almost Mach 10. So yeah, the boat's going really fast. But now we're about to hit the ground, and once it hits the ground, the boat just bounces up. So we survived re-entry here because I actually had the difficulty turned all the way down so that there's no damage or anything. So that's why the boat survived. Now, towards the end of this video, we'll have one more experiment after this, but at the end of the video for the last experiment, the third experiment, I will turn on realistic damage, and we'll see how well the boat survives re-entry in that case. Because in some of my other videos in the past where I did Flight Simulator stuff, for example, like a Boeing 747, I was able to get that to survive re-entry, even with like realistic damage on. So it's possible that a boat could survive re-entry. Now, what I'm going to do this time is, before I go to Slew Mode, I'm actually going to get the boat to pick up some speed on the runway. We're going to get it up to like, I don't know, somewhere over 50 knots or something like that. And then we'll go to Slew Mode. The reason why I did it this way is because in my previous experiences with actual aircraft doing re-entry, instead of just like putting it up there and then just dropping it down at like with zero speed at all or zero velocity, if we give it some initial velocity, initial speed, and then we exit Slew Mode, from my experience, that makes the re-entry process a lot smoother, and it seems to also still apply with the boat. In the previous experiment, with zero speed coming off Slew Mode, the boat was just like freaking out like crazy. But now with a little bit of speed added, the boat is actually very stable while re-entering the atmosphere. In fact, it seems like we are just sort of gliding down, so to speak, in a party yacht. And of course, just like before, our 2 passengers here, and probably the 2 in the deck below, are still having a great time on this party yacht and enjoying the nice scenery that is planet Earth from low Earth orbit, or really from a suborbital flight. I believe this would technically be considered. But yeah, I mean, as we start, getting further into the atmosphere, the boat does start kind of like just starting to get more feedback on the controller that I'm using. It starts vibrating. You can see the boat starting to shake as well a little bit, and the more we enter the atmosphere, the more, I guess, it's probably air resistance that's making the boat shake even more. But so far the boat is not freaking out like crazy like earlier, but it is going at a pretty high speed now during re-entry, and the speed is picking up, but the speed is not absurd. And if I recall, I don't think I ever even hit on this experiment. I don't even think I hit like supersonic or hypersonic speeds while in a party yacht. But yeah, so this time we'll watch the rest of the re-entry. The last part of the re-entry we'll watch in first person. But actually, scratch at the boat did hit supersonic speeds still. We're at like over like 1,700 knots, which I'm pretty sure is supersonic. I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, now the boat's starting to get like more out of control. So let's stay in first person at this part, and let's just watch the rest of it as we hit the ground. And boom. Now there are a lot of buildings here this time, so we didn't just bounce around as much. But yeah, that's that second experiment. So now let's actually turn on realistic damage. I'll set it to middle ground, so it's still realistic, but it'll take a few liberties here and there just to give the boat a better chance. So we apply the settings. Now let's exit slew mode, and let's just see how well the boat does re-entry. So I did do the same method before to stabilize it. I did give the boat some initial velocity or initial speed, and let's see if that stabilization allows the boat to survive re-entry when it's not freaking out like crazy. And so far, so good. The boat, I don't see any issues at all. The boat's just cruising along, entering the atmosphere. But unfortunately, it does get to the point where the boat gets destroyed and you overstress the quote-unquote aircraft. So there you guys have it. One of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in Flight Simulator. But as you can see, a boat can re-enter the atmosphere from space, but with realistic settings on, it won't survive re-entry. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Any other experiments or things for me to check out, just let me know in the comments down below. But aside from that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!